The barracks of Outpost Theta 9 stank of ozone and alien oil. The floor was slick with coolant, and the air vibrated with the low hum of plasma cores cooling after the day's drills. The Xylan soldiers hulking, insectoid warriors wrapped in shimmering bioarmor stood in neat ranks, their mandibles clicking in amusement as a human woman limped across the deck. Her armor was a mess. Scorched plates hung from her shoulders, one arm completely bare except for a strip of cracked ceramic, and her helmet, if it could still be called that, was dented inward, revealing a bloodied brow and one defiant blue eye. Lieutenant Marquez looked like a walking scrap pile. The laughter rose, chittering, clicking mockery. Pathetic, hissed one Xylan sergeant, his voice a series of sharp, grating sounds. How can a soft skin survive a battle looking like that? Perhaps it hides behind real warriors. Another jeered, the sound echoing off the cold metal walls of the barracks. The others joined in. A chorus of alien contempt aimed at the lone, battered human. Mara stopped, slowly. She turned to face them, her heavy combat boots clanking against the steel deck. Her movements were deliberate, weighted down by exhaustion and pain, but also by a stubbornness that refused to let her fall. Her voice, hoarse but steady, cut through the room like a blade. "You think this armor's broken?" The Xylan nearest to her, a brutish-looking soldier with scars across his chitinous plates, clicked mockingly. "It is broken. It looks like it was chewed by a hatchling and spat out." A smirk curled Mara's lips, a flicker of defiance in her weary face. "Funny thing about this armor," she reached up, her fingers fumbling for a moment before finding the release clasp on one of her dented shoulder plates. The plate came loose with a sharp metallic pop, revealing what lay beneath. It wasn't the standard tissue alloy of the Human Alliance. It was a section of rough plating, dark green, almost organic, and carved with strange, swirling sigils. A murmur swept through the assembled aliens. The chittering laughter died instantly, replaced by a ripple of confusion and dawning recognition. "That," one of them started, his voice a low hiss of disbelief, but Mara wasn't done. "This," she said, lifting the jagged, scorched plate high for all to see, used to be Commander Virathesh's shield. The barracks fell utterly silent. Every single Xylan in the room froze. Their mandibles twitched, and their multifaceted eyes widened in shock. Virath, their war hero, the 8-foot behemoth who had led the charge against human positions for 3 long, bloody years. The legend who, they'd been told, had only been stopped by an entire fleet bombardment. Mara let the plate drop. It clanged against the deck with a sound like thunder in the sudden stillness. "Guess your hero didn't need it anymore," she said, her voice laced with grim satisfaction. "He gave it to me, the hard way." No one moved. No one dared to even click their mandibles. Mara limped over to a nearby bench, dropped her rifle beside her, a battered human marksman's railgun, patched crudely with salvaged alien alloy, and began the painful process of prying off her ruined gauntlet. Beneath it, her skin was a mess of burns and shrapnel scars, a testament to the fight she'd endured. But her grip was steady as she began to methodically clean her weapon. Finally, one brave or foolish Xylan spoke, his voice trembling slightly. You fought Virath? Alone?" Mara didn't even look up from her rifle. "He ambushed my squad. I was the only one left standing at the end." "You lie," hissed another, his courage returning in the face of such an impossible claim. "The commander was split in half," Mara interrupted, her tone flat and devoid of emotion, "by a rail slug straight through his core. Go ask your quartermasters where they found the rest of him." The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on. It was a silence of shattered belief, of a myth being torn apart before their very eyes. Mara locked the rifle's magazine back into place with a sharp, definitive click. Then she stood, squaring her shoulders despite the blood soaking her sleeve, her small human frame suddenly seeming to cast a long shadow. "You think humans are weak because we bleed easy," she said quietly, her voice resonating with a strange power. "Because we don't have exoskeletons or acid for blood. But here's the thing you don't get." She bent down and picked up the alien shield plate again, turning it over in her hands. Its surface was burned black, the sacred sigils warped and melted by the intense heat of a railgun blast. "You build your armor to keep the pain out. We build ours to survive it." Her gaze swept across the ranks of silent, stunned soldiers. And when ours breaks, we just keep fighting anyway. The Xylans shifted uneasily, their imposing figures suddenly seeming less intimidating. None of them could meet her gaze. Back on Earth, Mara continued, her voice softening slightly. We used to have a saying, steel isn't strong because it never breaks. It's strong because it's been through the fire and reforged. She slapped the alien plate back onto her shoulder with a metallic thunk, a makeshift repair that was now a badge of honor. So yeah, laugh if you want, but every crack, every scorch mark, that's just proof that I'm still here. For a long, tense moment, the room was utterly silent. Then, a low, guttural voice rumbled from the back. It was Commander Threx, Virth's successor, a massive Xylan in full ceremonial armor, who had been watching from the shadows near the entrance the entire time. Human, Threx said, his voice slow and deliberate, each word carrying immense weight. You were the relic of our greatest warrior. Mara turned to face him, her single good eye meeting his without fear. Iron it, the commander studied her for a long moment, his multifaceted eyes glimmering in the dim light. Then, to the utter shock of every soldier present, he gave a slow, deliberate bow of his head, a sign of the highest respect in Xylan culture. You did. Threx stepped forward, his massive form towering over her. He extended one huge, clawed hand. After a tense pause, Mara clasped it, wincing slightly as his sharp claws scraped against her battered gauntlet. The grip was firm, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. The soldiers didn't laugh anymore. They watched in awed silence, their entire perception of their human allies shifting in a single moment. Later that night, when the drills resumed, the Xylan fought differently, harder, sharper. A new kind of respect burned behind their movements, something almost like fear, but deeper, more profound. And Marquez, with her mismatched armor, her human scars, and her alien trophy, led them through every motion, because the Xylan were finally beginning to understand. Humans didn't just fight to win. They fought to endure. And sometimes, enduring is the most terrifying victory of all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Tales from across the galaxy. We'll see you in the next one.